All right, the 36th question, it is talking about which of the following statements are correct regarding the programming languages. So it says Pascal and C are example of high-level programming languages. So which is a true one? Because there is only two things that we can consider when it comes to the low-level languages, which is the assembly language and the machine language. So the Pascal and C, or like all the other languages which are other than the machine language and the low level, the Pascal, the machine language and the assembly language. Other than that, everything belongs to the high level languages, right? So Pascal and C, yeah, definitely the example for programming languages. So when you take A is correct, A should be in your answer. So the third one is cancelled. And B says a program written in machine language can be executed directly on the computer. Of course, a program written in machine language means ones and zeros. So of course they can directly execute on the computer. So B is correct as well. So A and B should be in your answer. So the second one can be cancelled because it is A and C. So the part C, it says execution speed of the programs written in assembly language is comparatively higher than the execution speed of the program written in machine language. Now it goes the other way around. Like they say assembly language source code is faster than the machine language code when it is execution, but it actually goes on the other way. The machine language is the one which executes in the faster manner comparing to the assembly language. So because of that, part C is not a correct statement. So we can go to the first answer, A and B only. Execution speed of the program written in assembly language is comparatively higher, not higher, is comparatively lower than the execution speed of the program written in machine language. 37, what would be the output of the following pseudocode? So we are going to hand trace this, all right? So yeah, let me make it a little bit bigger. Yes. So here it comes. So the begin happens and sum equals 0, it says. So the variable sum, it should have 0. Count 5. So variable count, that should have 5. So it comes with the repeat until statement. So repeat. So it says sum equals sum plus count into count. So now count into count will happen first. That means 25. 25 will be added to the sum. That means then that total will be assigned to the sum again. So that means this is 25, this is 0. 0 plus 25 will give you 25. So sum will become 25. And count will be reduced by 1. So this 5 is going to become 4 once this is happened. Then the condition is check in until count larger than 0. So count larger than 0. So count over here, which is 4, is larger than 0. That means this produces you true. Now what happens when you receive true in a repeat until condition? It stops the iteration because repeat until works until this condition is false. So once it is true, it stops the iteration, then goes to the next line. So they ask you to display the sum. So sum is 25. So therefore the answer is 25, which is the first answer. Is that clear, everyone? Yes, people, is that clear? Okay, great. So the 38, it says consider the following array M in Pascal language. Now, when we are defining an array, we don't have the array definition over here. So array definition is the place which describes what is the nature of the array in a Pascal. Like in most of the programming languages, arrays are starting with the index of 0. But when it comes to the Pascal, that story gets a little bit differ, because in the definition of an array, if you think about like the same array, may array come up define karo. So we can define it like this. It is going to be defined with the var keyword. So then we write the array name, then colon. We are going to say the array keyword. Then within square brackets, we are going to define how the indexes are going to behave in the Pascal, right? So for these indexes, I can define any kind of range, right? So I can tell start it from 2 goes until 10. So the indexes will start it from 2, so it will go 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 likewise, right? Or else I can say start it from 0 goes until 9 likewise. So what I need to say is like I can define what's the starting index is, right? So then after the off keyword, I'm going to tell what kind of data type that this array can have. So this is a kind of a definition. But here in this question, they don't mention, that like they are not talking about what's the range is, like from where the index is starting, from where the index is ending. So if you are given such thing, then you have to assume these indexes are starting from 0 anyway. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 are the indexes which are going to be in this array. So since array can have a lot of values inside it, these values will be referred separately or uniquely using their indexes, right? So the way that they are going to refer is like this. So here that M5 means M's 5th index. That's what it means, right? So since they haven't defined the array, we have to assume it starts from 0 and goes to the end like this, right? So now what we are going to do is we'll argue with this detail. So it says array M has length of 8. Now length means the number of characters or like number of items that held inside the array. So if you count it, it is 3, 3, and 6, right? So there are 8 items inside the array. That means the length of the array is 8 is correct. And the second statement says M5 has the value 50. So that means array M 5th index contains the value 60, not the 50. So it is wrong. And in statement C, it says value M1. Value M1 means M1. Value is 20. And plus M3. M3 means this value 40. So 20 plus 40 gives you 60. So because of that, this is correct, right? So A and C is going to be the correct answer, right? So 38, second one is the answer in that case. In 39, it says what would be the output of the given flow chart? So if 5 is given as the input for num, yeah, so we have to hand trace again. So let's start with the M. So it will start read num. So num will be 5 as this is, right? So num, it's going to become 5. So count equal ones, answer equal 1 is there. So count, it has 1. And answer, it has 1 again, right? So this says multiply answer with count and assign it to the answer. That means answer into count means 1 into 1, which is 1, and it will be assigned to the answer again, which is 1 again, right? So no changes of the values. So then the condition is asked. So it is asking whether the count is less than num. Count is 1, num is 5, so it is true. That means you are going on this path, count will be increased by 1. So count will become 2. Then this happens again, answer into count. So answer is 1, count is 2, that means 2. 2 will be assigned to the answer again. So this 1 will become 2 now. Again, it checks whether count is less than num. Count is 2, num is 5. So it is true. Again, goes on this path. Count will be increased by 1. So count will become 3. Then again, this will happen. Count into answer, assigned to the answer. So 3 into 2 is 6. So answer will become 6. Then again, it will check whether the count is less than num. So count is 3, num is 5. It is true again. So this will happen. Count will be increased by 1. So count will become 4. And this will happen again. Answer into count, 4 into 6 is 24. And it will be assigned to the answer again. So 24. And it will check this, whether the count is less than num. So count is 4, num is 5 still, so it is less than. Still this is correct on year's path, and this is going to happen again. Count will be increased by 1, means 5. And this is going to happen, answer into count, 5 into 24 gives you 120, and it will be assigned to the answer again. That means 120 will be assigned to the answer. And this checks whether count is less than num. Now count is 5. Num is 5. Daddy, where's the pink bell? I don't know, so I think it's Atyama. Right, now the count is 5, num is 5. So the count is not less than num, it is equals to num. So now it goes on the no path because the condition is false. It asks to print ans. So ans gives you 120. So 120 is going to print. Okay, people, is that clear? All right, great. So the 40th, it is again a hand trace, right? So let's start from the begin. So it begins number equals 12. So I'll take the variable number. It is 12. So they ask in while number larger than 5. Number is 12, which is larger than 5. So it is correct. There's a if condition again. If number larger than or equal 10. So still number is larger than 10, even though it is not equal. So this is correct. That means this is going to happen. So number will be divided by 2, assigned to the number again. So 12 will be divided by 2, which means 6. Will assign to the number again. So that means 6 will be assigned to the number. Else is not going to happen because the condition was true. So this is not. After that, it goes to the top of the while condition and checks the condition again. It asks whether number is larger than 5. So number is 6 now. So it is larger than 5. That means it's correct. So then it checks the if condition whether number is larger than 10. So number is not larger than 10 because the value of the number is now 6. It is not equals as well. That means this is not going to happen. Right? So this is wrong. This gives you false, the condition. Because of that, this is not going to happen. Else is going to execute. Else says add 4 to the number and assign it to the number again. That means 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 will be given to the number. And then it goes up and checks the condition again. So it says whether the number is larger than 5. So number is 10. Still it is larger than 5, which is true. Comes to the if condition and checks whether the number is larger than or equal 10. So it is not larger but equal. That means this is true again. That means this is going to happen. So number will be divided by 2 and assigned to the number again. So 10 divided by 2 means 5. 5 will be assigned to the number. This time else is not going to happen because the if condition is true and this has happened. So this is not going to happen again. It goes up and checks the condition again. So it is checking whether number is larger than 5. Number is 5. 5 larger than 5. It is false now or untrue. That means it stops. It stops means it comes to the end while. And they're asking you to display the number. So number is 5 that you need to display. So the first one is going to be your answer. Okay, so that is the end of the MCQ paper. So see how much you got out of 40. Let me know as well. All right, I'm going to go to the part 1 and I'm going to go to the part 2, the first question, and let me take the marking scheme as well so we can go through this quickly. Okay. I think something went wrong with this. Let me hit it again. Okay, Dulagi, very well done. Himidiri, very good. Keep it up. Okay, so I'm starting the second paper. So the questions goes like this. It has been common practice to use learning management systems to manage both schools and higher education institutes. Write down 2 facilities provided by the LMS for students. So let's go with the marking scheme. It gives you these kind of things. So yeah, Minha, yeah, that's a good mark. Keep it up, Minha, right? So it says consider only first 2 answers, only 1 mark per each, maximum of 2 of them. So you can have any one of these. If you got any alternative answers, just let me know. So like learn from anywhere, upload assignments from home, participate in forums, participate in activities with videos, download lecture materials and videos, view marks, those kind of things, like do file sharing, learn anytime. So those kind of things can be taken. If you got any alternative answers, just let me know. Then I'll tell you whether you can have those marks or not. So 2 marks. So what they're asking is like give only the first 2 answers. If you write a lot of things, they only consider the first 2. So be careful to write, be careful when you're answering something like this. If they ask 2, remember to write just 2. Don't go further than that, right? Just write 2 things and that's it. Don't try to do over, right? Sometimes it will give you a disadvantage, right? So 2 marks for 2 factors. And yeah, in here they're asking consider the following 2 incomplete statements. They have the and a blank. Dulagi, yes, that can be taken as a correct answer, Dua. No problem. Right, in the second one, the blank is the primary storage device of desktop computers. So primary storage devices, it's going to be the RAM, right? So Secondary storage devices are the like the hard disk and all these things. So primary, it's going to be the RAM. So for A, it's the RAM that you are going to have. And for B, an operating system is an example for a system software, right? So you should have these two answers, right? And for these two answers, there are separate 1 marks. So you can have 2 marks for that part as well. Okay, so then in the third one, they're asking you to convert the octal number 867 to its binary equivalent. And they say show the major steps of your calculation, right? And in B, it says some other part. So 867, so conversion of it is easy, right? So let me do it quickly for you. 867 and octal one. They're asking it to convert it into the binary equivalent. So you have to write each and every component of the octal value as a 3-bit value. Right. So 7. So the place values are 1, 2, and 4. Right. So, oh, hold on. Oh, there is a problem, people. I couldn't code that. You can't put 8 as an octal value. I think they have given, yeah, they say 1 bonus mark for all students of 3 mediums. Yes, they have done a major mistake because octal number cannot have 8 inside it. So 867 is not an octal number. So you don't need to do the calculations. You can have 1 mark for that. So it is given to everyone. So let's consider about the second part. So in the second part, it says, in the second part, it says, if this particular represents Z in ASCII code, what is the ASCII code for X, right? So that's quite easy. So ASCII, we know like it happens in an order, right? So this X, Y, Z. So they have given the Z 1 0 1 1 0 1 0, right? So the place values are like 1 2 4 8, and this is 16, this is 32, and this is 64, right? So when you are making the value, it's 64 plus 16 plus 8 plus 2 that you are going to consider. So it will be like how much? 70, 80, and 90, right? Yeah, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Yes, Z represents the value 90. So Y is going to be the value 89, X is going to be the value 88, right? So value 88 can be easily done, right? Like this, right? 1 0 1 1 0 0 and a 0, right? Because when it comes to the 80, what we are going to consider is 64, 16, and 8. That's how 88 is made. So the answer is going to be 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 for the X, right? So yeah, so this is the answer that they have given, right? So 1 mark for that. Okay, so the next part, which is the fourth one, draw the truth table for the logic circuit given below. Yeah, now this truth table, it is just a small one, like in the question, have they mentioned something like that? Draw the truth table for the logic circuit given below. Yes, they haven't mentioned about it. So when you are drawing something like this, first of all, you have to figure out what's going to be there. So this gives you A dot B, and this is going to give you A plus B, right? And this is going to give you A dot B dot A plus B is total bar, right? So that is where you are going to create the things, right? So when you are creating the truth table, you should have A line, you should have B line, right? So it's 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, right? So we can create A dot B in a one line and A plus B in another line. And then we can try A dot B dot A plus B's total by at once. We can multiply and complement it. So A dot B will give you 0, 0, 0, 1. A plus B will give you 1, 1, 1, 0. So multiplying these two together, and we have to complement it. So 0 plus 1 is 0. Complement it will give you a 1. 0 dot 1 is 0. Complementing it will give you a 1. 0 dot 1 is 0. Complementing it will give you a 1. 1 dot 0 is 0. Complementing will give you a 1 again. So output is totally 1. Oh, there is a problem. Oh, hold on. Where did I miss? Oh my God, I've done a silly mistake, people. I've done the mistake over here. My bad, my bad. This is the mistake I made. A plus B is 0. And this is 1. Sorry for that, people. So this will give you a 0. This will give you a 1. So yeah, so it's 0 dot 0 is going to be a 0. Complement of 0 is 1, which is correct. And here 1 dot 1 is 1. Complementing it will give you a 0. Yes. So 3 ones and a 0 is going to be the output. So that's what the output shows you. So you can have 1 mark for the truth table. Yeah, is it? No, 2 marks, 2 marks, people. The entire part, the fourth part, 2 marks for that. Yeah, in the fifth, what they are asking is like the following 2 diagram illustrate 2 types of file accessing method. Write down the file accessing method represents by A and B. So it's easy. It is there in the textbook as it is.
That's my one. This is my spinning chair.
Yeah, okay.
No, hold it.
Okay.
Let me have my spinning chair.
Okay, you can have that.
I can take to the other side.
Yeah, take it to the other side. Right, so the picture A shows you the sequential access. The picture B shows you the random access. So it's easy. So 0.5 marks are given for the correct answers.
Who's the player?
So 1 mark. Thank you. That's enough, Maida. Okay. Yeah, and the part B is asking the operating system identifies file types using file extensions. What is the file extension of a PowerPoint file? So you only need to give the part of the extension. So you can say it is either PPT or PPTX. Dot is not compulsory, people. So either of the answers will give you the other 1 mark. Right? So 2 marks will be there for the 5th part. Okay. In the 6th part, they are referring to a Word document or like a particular word processing. And they have named 1, 2, 3, and 4 in different places. And they ask like what kind of tool that we can use, right? So for 1 and 2, if you think about here, they are just center aligning this, right? They are just center aligning this, and they made it as bold, right? So for 1 and 2, it's going to be P and S, right? So for the 3rd, it's the superscript. That means U. And in 4th, the underline that they have saying, that is T, right? So with that, it goes like this. 1, it is P, 2, it is S, or you can shuffle it. If you say 1 is S, 2 should be P, 3 is definitely U, 4 is definitely V. I'm sorry, V. Oh, hold on. Yes. Yes, people, yes. So, yeah. Now, have they, yeah, it's quite, yeah, have they mentioned that once this is clicked, it will be connected to this particular site? They haven't, right? Yeah, yes, it is not very much fair to tell that it is V only. Someone can argue that this can be managed with the help of U as well, right? But in the marking scheme, they have taken only V, but much better it is either V or T, because they haven't mentioned that this is going to be a link. They have said this is the source, but still it's good to clarify, right? But be careful on these things, people, right? So they have said it's not T, it's the V that they can use, right? It's the V that they are going to use, right? So the answers goes like PSUV or SPUV. Okay, people, is it clear up to this point? Great. Okay, so the seventh one. So they are given a particular table. So they're asking write down the number of fields and the records in the above table. So it is easy. So like these are the number of records. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 5 records. And they got 1, 2, 3, and 4 columns. That means there are 4 fields, right? So 5 records and 4 fields, which will give you 1 mark. And in part B that they're asking is write down the most suitable data type for the purchase date and quantity. So for the purchase date, since it is a date, we can take date, time. For quantity, you can take number or integer, right? So any particular answer will give you 0.5 for each, which gives you 1 mark together. So 2 marks for defining those 2 things. In the part 8, they are saying consider the following pseudocode segment with blank spaces labeled A to C, which calculates and displays the sum of odd numbers between 0 and 10. Write down the suitable expressions for A, B, and C in label expression format, right? So that means you have to say A, put an arrow, what should be the expression, right? So here they have said this program is to do what? To display the sum of odd numbers between 0 and 10, right? So it begins sum equals 0, num equals 1. So then while it should be like you have to start the number from 1, you have to end it from 9, right? So since you need to end it from 9, because they say it is odd numbers between 0 and 10, right? So 10 is not an odd number anyway. So you can stop at 9 or you can go until the 10 as well. So any particular condition, either num less than or equal 9, or you can take num less than 10, or again you can take num less than or equal 10. Any condition will satisfy the output, right? Because when we consider like the sum of odd numbers from 1 to 10, you are going to add 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So even though it says in between 1 to 10, we can stop it at 9, or we can go for the 10. It doesn't harm the logic, right? And when it comes to the sum should be assigned with the current sum added with the current value of the num, right? So that means like in here, right? That means here they have take sum equals sum plus num. So sum is 0, num will become 1 for the very first time. Then we have to increase num to become an odd number again, because 1 is an odd number. So we have to increase the number to become 3, right? So that means num equals num plus 2 must be there. Then in the second round, sum is 1 now, num is going to become 3. So 1 plus 3 will happen. That means 4, right? Then on the next round, sum will be 4. Num is plus 2 means num is going to be 5. Then 4 plus 5 will happen. Likewise, odd numbers will be added together, right? So that is how the logic works. So that is why it says sum equals sum plus num, or you can say the num plus sum as well. And in the part C, num equals num plus 2 or 2 plus num as an answer, right? So if all the things are correct, you are going to have A, B, C. So they have given 1 mark for A and 0.5 for B and 0.5 for C, right? That is how it's going to happen. People, is that clear? Yes, everyone, is it clear? Okay. Right, in part 9, it says the following table shows some of the formatting tools of GIMP software. So they ask you to identify the tool, and you have to write the icon number and the description of the table, proceeding with an arrow, right? So the first one is for the selection, right? So it is going to go select the required area as a circular or elliptical region. So that means the first one, oh, I'm sorry. First one matches with B. Second one is the pencil, right? So what it is doing is paints hard edge lines. So it goes like that. And in 3, it is to create the path to select shapes, right? So 3 goes with this. And D, it's the lasso tool or the free form tool. Draw a free form selection, right? So 4th one goes with A, right? So first one B, second one D, third one C, and 4th one A. So that will give you 2 marks if you match it properly. So each and every part will give you 0.5. The last part is the 10th one. It says list 2 advantages of having local area network for a department. So there can be many advantages. So they have listed some of them here. Resources such as printers can be shared by all the computer connected to the network. Or you can simply say share enough resources such as printers can be taken. Storing of files in centralized location like a server. Local messaging is possible. That means emailing, doing locally, right? Or a particular chat service locally, right? Data can be shared, transferred easily, and access privileges can be set. So any particular 2 answers will gain you 1 mark, right? If you got any alternative answers, just let me know, people. So I will go through those. And in part B, they are asking, write the name of 2 types of computer networks according to the geographical distribution. So according to the geographical distribution, there are 3 types of categories, basically. LAN, WAN, and MAN. Local area network, small geographic area, when the network spread on a small geographic area. And wide area network, when the network spread on a very bigger geographical area like internet. And metropolitan area network, which is a collection of LANs, will make you a MAN, metropolitan area network. So any two of these will give you 1 mark. Himidiri, yeah, ability to share documents for the part A, yes, can be taken as a correct answer. So you can take the marks, no worries. So that will sum up the first question. So see how much you got out of 20, right? And I'm moving to the second one straight away. So the second one, what they're asking is they have given different kinds of malpractices and ask us to match it with the list, right? So the part A says steal important data and information stored on a computer without the knowledge of the owner. So it is called the data theft, right? Without the knowledge of the owner, if you're taking those things, we call that data theft. Copying and pasting a paragraph to a document from the internet without citing. Citing means like giving proper privileges or giving proper the rights to the original person who have made that. So which describes the malpractice, which is called the plagiarism, right? So copying and pasting paragraph to a document from internet without citing, that means without mentioning who has done this thing, it is called plagiarism. And in part C, it says an employee using someone else's identity to gain the financial advantage. Identity is misusing. That is called identity theft, right? The previous one is called the data theft, right? Stealing the data. So this is kind of stealing identity. So it is called identity theft. The part D, it says using someone else's innovation for the other developments without his or her knowledge. So it is intellectual property right violation. So like if someone has, if someone got some innovation, that's his or her idea. So when we are using that, if that person has taken a patent or a legal rights for his idea, we have to take the permission from that particular person to use things with our product or with our any particular task. So otherwise it's going to be a violation of intellectual property rights, right? So D goes with intellectual property right violation, right? So 2 marks, 0.5 for each part. So in the second part, they have given you a particular diagram and they are asking what kind of health issues that this person can have, right? So you can give these kind of things. So he will be having musculoskeletal problems because he's not bending his neck properly, keeping the feet on the floor, right? He's not having a straight back support. He's lean to the back, right? And those kind of things will cause you musculoskeletal problems, right? And repetitive stress injury will be happen due to the bend of the neck, right? So it will he's going to have a swallow on the neck and it will move to your right hand if you are a right-hander, or to the left hand if you are a left-hander. So it will move until your hands, so which we call the RSI, repetitive stress injury. And he's not placing his wrist, not wrist actually, he's not resting his arm properly, right? So this diagram shows over here, he's just keeping the wrist against the table, right? So which will cause the extra pressure or unwanted pressure on the wrist, so which will cause carpal tunnel syndromes, right? And many reasons will lead you to the headaches. And I really don't see a reason to have computer vision syndrome for this person. Like it is quite a distance that he is having from the computer, which will not give any vision syndromes, but they have considered that as an answer. So if you have that, since the marking scheme illustrated, you can have that mark for that, right? So yes, so that will give you 4 marks if you mention 4 different health related issues in your answer. Right, so moving to the third part. So it's going to give you 2 marks, and what they're asking is like match the ABCDE labels into the like things from the list which is given you underneath the question with the labels A, B, C, D, and E, right? So the first one says a blank is used to secure data stored in the standalone computer by blocking unauthorized entry, right? So it is going to be the password, right? So A is going to go with the password, right? And B is essential to safeguard important data in an event of a failure of a computer, right? So it's going to be a backup. If you have a failure in computer, so you should have a backup so you can use that backup data to make that failure okay, like to make use of data which you cannot access from the original source or the original computer. In C, it says it's an act of cheating users to collect username and password of electronic bank accounts, definitely the phishing, right? So phishing is the method that they are using, sending some electronic mails or like a message kind of things. So by clicking on those, they will ask the user to log into these systems. So when they are logging in, they just collect the username and the password, the sensitive data. So the D, it says, can be used to safeguard a computer system from harmful software, definitely the virus guard. They have taken the firewall as well, right? But the best match is going to be the virus guard, right? So like harmful software, it's kind of an unauthorized access is there as well, but firewall is majorly used to prevent the unauthorized access to the network. So regarding the safeguard, virus guard is the best answer, right? So they have given marks for the both virus guard and the firewall. So go with any answer, right? So for part E, it says, enter a computer as an executable file and can erase files. Definitely it's going to be a virus, right? So even a worm can do the thing, so but worm is not over here, so it can be a virus. So the marks are given like this, as it shows over here. So like 4 to 5 is correct, 2 marks, 3 are correct, 1.5, 1 are correct, 0.5, 2 are correct, only 1 mark. So the last part, it says the following table lists 4 labels and descriptions related to the computer networking. So they are asking you to match it again. So the first one says operate as a secured barrier between internet and the given network. Definitely the firewall. Firewall is the one who is protecting the network from the outside world. So when you are connecting with the outside world, it's mostly the internet, right? So the firewall should be placed in between the internet and the network. So whatever they are getting from the internet, firewall will check. And if it is given the access, it will allow that particular person or that particular data to enter into the network. So B, it says example for guided transmission media. So twisted pair is the only one that you can find in the list. Wi-Fi is a wireless guide, like unguided media, a wireless one, right? And C says connects 2 different networks. Connecting 2 different networks, router has the only ability of doing that. So router kind of devices are called the gateway devices, right? So gateway devices can be a router as well as a firewall has the same ability, but it goes on the security purpose. And there is a device called bridge, which can do the things. And there is devices like layer 3 switches, but it is not in your syllabus. But the best thing that you can talk is the gateway, right? So in part C, it's the gateway. Mode of communication used in telephone conversations, definitely the full duplex, right? I think you can remember the other 2 communication methods, which is called the simplex, like the TV broadcasting or the radio broadcasting, and half duplex, like in the walkie-talkie communication. But here in the mobile conversation, it is definitely the full duplex, right? So each and every correct answer is going to have 0.5 marks. So 2 marks will be there as a sum. Okay, so that is done. So see how much you got out of 10 and do the calculation. So the third one, it is about the database question. So you are given with 3 tables. And these 3 tables explains the supervisor details, the project details, and the details where the supervisor and project together, right? Like the allowances regarding a particular project for a particular supervisor is described in the supervisor project table, right? And the questions that they are asking state whether the following statements are true or false. Supervisor ID is a foreign key of supervisor project table. Yeah, now when it comes to the supervisor ID, here supervisor ID, there is a supervisor ID column over here. But when it comes to the supervisor table, it's the supervisor ID acting as a primary key, right? So this is the primary key. So when the primary key is used inside this in another table, so we can tell it as a foreign key, right? So that is true. And the second one says, the part B says, project ID is primary key of the supervisor project table. Now, if you think about the project ID has duplicating values. So duplicating values can never perform or never form a primary key. So when it comes to the project supervisor project table, it seems these 2 columns together will perform a composite primary key for that table, right? Because it cannot perform like from one particular column to the supervisor project table, right? But when it comes to the other two tables, neither. Like when it comes to the project table, project ID can be taken as the primary key. For the supervisor ID column can be taken as a primary key, right? So the first one is true, second one is false, right? So 1 mark is given. So in part 2, they are asking about which table needs or like table or tables needs to be updated to accommodate the following changes. Anura Vijayanayaka is assigned as a supervisor for the project P002 with an allowance of 10,000, right? So let's go to the this particular question over here. Hold on. Right, so it says Anura Vijayanayaka is assigned as a supervisor for the project P002 with allowance of 10,000. Now, if you think about Anura Vijayanayaka, he is there in the supervisor table already, Anura Vijayanayaka. So he is not a new supervisor. So that means we don't need to add details to the supervisor table. But since he is assigning to a project with some particular allowance, that means definitely the supervisor project table needs to be updated. Right? So that means in the supervisor project table, it says he is assigned to the project P002 with the allowance of 10,000. So the project ID P002 should be here, 10,000 should be here. And his supervisor ID, Andhra Vijayanayaka's supervisor ID is S04, right over here. So that means S04 must come over here. So it's just one table that is going to be updated. It's like this, right? So they are just asking about the table. So it's the supervisor project table that you are going to say. So 2 marks for that part, just saying supervisor project, right? So part B says a new supervisor. So definitely the supervisor table must be updated. Pradeep Disanayaka, supervisor ID is given as 06, joined the Department of Chemistry, was assigned as a supervisor for an ongoing project with the allowance of 15,000. So he's a new supervisor. That means supervisor table must be updated, as well as he's handling or like given a particular project. So the supervisor project table must be handled, right? So, and they say it is an ongoing project. So ongoing project means project P003 is already there. So we don't need to worry about updating the project table. It is there already. But there should be a new record on the project, the supervisor table, and there should be a new record for the, I'm sorry. For the supervisor project table, right? I'm sorry for the other underlining part, right? So 2 tables must be given, right? So it's like this: supervisor, comma, supervisor project. So in the marking scheme, they say 2 or 0 marks, right? So 2 marks if both table names are correct, otherwise 0 marks, right? So 2 marks are given for that as well. In the part 3, it says on 15/9/2020, the university started a new project IDP 006 with Muhammad Nazwar and Raj Selvan as supervisors. An amount of 11,000 is allocated for each supervisor. Write down the new records to be added to the relevant. For the above changes, use the format table name, field 1, field 2, likewise. So when they are mentioning something like this, you have to follow this rule, right? That is why the answers goes like this, people, right? So since it is a new project, the project table must be have a new entry, which is P006 and 15/9/2020, because project table has only 2 columns, the project ID and the starting date. And they are assigned to this new project. There are 2 people who are assigned to this new project, and those like the Mohammed Nazwar and Raj Selmer are there in the supervisor table. So they are not new supervisors. So, but it is a new assignment to the to a particular project. So the supervisor project table must be updated. So there should be 2 updated statements or records. So S02, P006, 11,000, that is 1 line, and S03, P006, 11,000, that is the other line, right? So 2 marks are given. 1 mark is for the project table record and 0.5 for each record in the supervisor project table. So 2 marks for that section. Okay. So the 4th one, the last part, it says, what are the most appropriate tables to be joined to write a query to find the department name or names of the supervisor, or so the supervisors who supervise the project P001. Now, if you are going to find that, you are going to find who, what are the names of the supervisors who supervise project 001. So project 001. So this is the way we are going to find this. I'll go with the whiteboard, people. Right, so this is the way that you are going to find it. This P001 is handling these 2 situations. So it is done by S02 and S04. So S02 and S04 are these 2 people. So from that, you can find out what are the names of the supervisors. So you need supervisor project table as well as the supervisor table to find out the answer for the query, right? So that is why the answers are given like this. So it's supervisor and supervisor project. So again, it says 2 or 0 marks. That means you must give all 2 names. Otherwise, you are not going to have the marks. Okay, so with that, that question is done. So see how much you got out of 10. Okay, in the 4th question, they are asking, write down 2 advantages of using SaaS, software as a service, which is a cloud computing services for an institute. So they're asking 2 advantages. So you can say reduce software cost because it is in the cloud. Everyone can use the same cloud software. So you only need to pay once, or sometimes it is given as a free service. Easy software maintenance. You only need to maintain only one particular place. So everyone will be benefited with that. Receive instant updates, definitely. And you can tell, like, you can access the software from anywhere at any place of the world, right? That is also possible, right? And if you got any alternative answers, just let me know. So for this particular 2 factors, you will be given 2 marks, right? And in the second part, they're asking you to match the PQRS with the list, right? So identifies a computer uniquely on the internet, that is the IP address, right? So P is going with the IP address. Generally, no installation cost. No installation cost. Installation cost. Yeah. Generally, yeah, be careful when you are answering in that manner, Dua. But installation, like installation කියනවට වඩා දුව purchase කරන්න හරි නැත්නම් maintenance වලට අඩු cost එකක් යනවා කියන එක හොඳයි. Installation cost එක අපිට නෑම කියලා කියන ටිකක් අමාරුයි දුව. Because if you think about the MS Office 365, we have to pay to have that service. It is a cloud service, but once I paid it, I can give the access to a lot of people, right? So it will have a cost, but it is comparatively less than we having the software to each and every computer, right? So due to that, generally don't take marks for this tour, right? No installation cost kiwa deka podak අපිට ටිකක් impractical තැනකට යනවා, right? So it's better you say reduced installation cost, or less installation cost will give you some marks. All right. So the first one identifies a computer uniquely on the internet, that is the IP address. Second one connects a web page to another web page, that is an hyperlink, right? So those are the links which connects us from page to page. Converts a domain name into the IP address, definitely the DNS. It is being tested in almost all the papers, all the past papers. Used for the communication between web server and the web browser, right? The communication, it's a protocol that they are asking is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, because the web pages are made out of HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. So when we need to communicate one hypertext markup language into another place, it is a hypertext transfer that we are doing. So we need hypertext transfer protocol. Dulagi, I can't see what that you are asking. So is this correct? Means are you referring to the part 2? Yes. Now that can be taken, Dulagi. No need to allocate space for the installation of software. Yes. Hold on, Dulagi, hold on. Since they are asking about the SAS Dua, the space is actually referred to the not the platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. So in that case, you won't be able to collect the marks though, because they are asking the what the advantages of the software as a service though. So if you are talking about the space, that means it's kind of a hard disk space. So hard disk categorized under the infrastructure, right? So it is a benefit of infrastructure as a service, not a benefit of software as a service though, right? So for that reason, you won't be able to take the marks, right? Okay. All right, so P is IP address, Q is hyperlink, R is DNS, S is HTTP, right? So 2 marks if you got it correctly. Then in part 3, they are asking to match the HTML tags with the reference of this particular thing, right? So let me go with the pages. Yeah, so the first one, it's inside the head tag. So one, it's definitely going to be title, right? So one is going to be title, and COVID-19 pandemic, it's the heading, right? So in the list, what they are having is H1, right? Yeah, H1 is there. So you can use H1 in there, right? So here, H1, right? And this, since this is IMG tag, they have used src, width, height, and this is the alternative text. So it's ALT, right? And the fourth one, it's kind of a break tag that they are trying to use over here. Let me refer the output. Yeah, so like after 2020, there are, hold on, I need to recheck that. On average, it takes 5, 6, it says. Yeah, there should be a break tag, right? So let me see whether there's a break tag. Yeah, there's a break tag, yes. So you can use BR over here, but it's quite, the space is quite big for the BR. Anyway, like the paragraph will produce you extra spaces because P tag is always having free lines from the top of the paragraph and at the bottom of the paragraph as well. Right, and the next one is entirely italicized. So inside the paragraph tag, there should be I tags, right? So 5 is I. Then you come to the table, right? So inside the table, the TR and TH is made. And then in the most common symptoms and less common serious symptoms are the first row. And in the second row, the 6 is going to be a TR, right? So this is going to be a TR because it's create the next row. And the 7, it's going to be a TD. Yes, it's going to be a TD. So that TD ends from here and another TD starts. So this is the first TD and this is the second TD, right? And 8 UL, this should be the type because the unordered list is having squares over here. So that could be given type equals by type equals square, right? And yeah, this 9, that to indicate the effect that is happening over here. So these 2 columns are being merged. So that is call span, people, right? So it's the call span that we need over here. 9 is going to be the call span, right? And the 10th, yeah, since it is an link, this is definitely, the 10th one is definitely an anchor tag, right? So that's how the HTML page is goes with. So let's check with the numbers and the answers. Yeah, there it goes. So 1 is title, second one is H1, 3 is alt tag, 4 is BR, 5th one is I, 6th is TR, 7th one is TD, 8 is type, 9 is call span, 10 is A. So for the 6th and the 7th, they have given 1 mark. Rest of the things they have given 0.5. Minul, yeah, Minul, it's type is not a tag actually, Minul. It's an attribute, Buddha. Like when we use type with the UL, like if we take UL and if we take type, if we say square, then this is how the UL starting tag ends, and then you can close the UL ending tag at somewhere. So when type equals square, we'll create the square icons. So you can have the disk type and the circle as the value of the type other than the square. All right, okay, great. All right, so moving to the fifth question, the Excel one. Yeah, it's quite big table that we have here. So it says the following spreadsheet segment. Yes, Minul, it is, right? The following spreadsheet segment shows some statistics of Test cricket players with most centuries scored, right? So you got the player name, the span, that means the years that they have played, the number of matches, number of innings, number of outs, number of runs, high scores. Average column is empty. I think we have to fill that. Number of centuries are there, number of half centuries, so the 50s are there, and number of ducks, that means where you out for zeros are there, right? At the end, highest average is there, and some particular source, the link is over there, right? So it goes for the questions. So it says the column H is used to show the batting average of each player. The average of a player is calculated by using formula equals runs divided by innings minus not outs. Write down the formulas that should be entered into the cell H3, obtain SR Tendulkar's average. So Tendulkar is on the third row, right? So to figure out the average, how it's going to be, the runs should be divided by, yeah, how they have told in there, the runs divided by innings minus not out. Yes. So that means runs, it comes over here, which is the F3, innings minus not out. So this value minus this value. So means D3 minus E3, right? So F equal F3. So it's going to be equal F3 divided by, within brackets, D3 minus E3 is going to be the answer. So that's what the example says. So equal or plus sign both are taken, but goes with the equal one, people. That is the way that we have used to do. All right. So 2 marks if you got the correct formula, right? And remember, you must have the equal sign or the plus mark, right? Should be a complete one, right? And the second one, assume that the formula entered in cell H3 is copied to the cell range H4 to H22. Write down the formula displayed in cell H22. So it's quite easy. If the third row got F3s, so it's the 22nd row is going to go with F22s, right? So it should be this particular formula, like equals F3 will become F22, divided by D3 will become D22, minus E3 will become E22, right? As well as if you write it with the plus mark, that's also possible. And the third one, they say write down the steps to display these averages in column H with 2 decimal places. Yeah, so you have to be very careful. So the method one, they say place the cursor on the column H, press or click left mouse button on the icon decrease decimals in MS Excel. They have given you the icon several times until you see 2 decimal places on this spreadsheet. So that is the first method that you can go, right? And you can go with the second one as this. So like it depends on the MS Excel 2010 version or LibreCalc versions. So place the cell pointer and click on the cell in column H. Second step, click right button of the mouse, or like right click the mouse. Select format cells from menu. Select numbers tab from the window. Select number from the category. Set decimal places to 2. Press OK. So it's quite of a lengthy scenario that you have. But somehow, for any particular explanation, you are given 2 marks, right? So it's better you go through what kind of method that you have used. Is it the first one or the second one? So, but be very careful, people, that they are asking these kind of questions now. So it's better remember how to do the things. right? So 2 marks for the explanation. So in the fourth part that they are asking, write down the formula in the form of equal function cell 1 colon cell 2 that should be entered in cell H24 to find the highest average, right? So the highest average, so the average happens on the column H. So the range that you are going to use, it's from H3 to H22, right? So from here to here, right? So it is from here to this particular point, right? So it is the 22nd row started from the 3rd row. So H2 to H22, right? So it's easy, equal max, the specific range is H3 colon H22, or you can say plus max H3 colon H22. The fifth part is asking about write down the most suitable chart type available in spreadsheet software from the given list of charts for the following. So they have given you the list of charts. To show the number of centuries, 50s, and ducks obtained by S.R. Tendulkar, list of charts parts, the pie chart, line chart, scatter chart, and the area chart. So since it belongs to a one specific like the player, you can use pie chart, right? Because it belongs to one particular player. So from the pie chart, like you can show like like what is the portion of the centuries, what is the portion of the 50s, what is the portion of the ducks. And if you are going to do a comparison, like in the part B, to show the comparison of centuries, 50s, and ducks obtained by all players in the same chart, definitely it's going to be a kind of an area chart or a bar chart, right? So they have given the bar chart because the comparison is there, right? In an area chart, it's going to be something like this, right? So we can't see the comparison, right? So the bar chart will give you, or a column chart kind of things will give you what is the comparison, right? So the first one, it's the pie chart. The second part, it's the bar chart. So 1 and 1 mark is given separately. So that ends the fifth question. Yeah. And people, I think I have said for you to like get ready to stay a little more time today because we are ending the class sessions from today. So like be there for another 10 to 15 minutes. We will be able to finish up the 6th and the 7th as quickly as possible. So I'm moving to the 6th question. Yeah, in the 6th question, they have given a particular kind of scenario and they are asking what kind of things that these people are going to do, right? So the first question is, which type of testing was carried out by Krishna, right? So Krishna, he's doing the things over here. Krishna is a member of the testing team, was assigned to test the merged version of the system, right? Test the merged version of the system. It says afterwards, several new components were added to the system. Once the new system is completed, Pradeepa, head of the testing team, arranged testing session with the end user, right? So this merged version of the system. So once the Krishna has done this system, so Pradeepa has arranged it with the end users. So there are 4 types of testing methods: unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and the acceptance testing. What Pradeepa is doing with the end user is the acceptance testing. The test before the acceptance testing is called the system testing, right? So what we can go is the system testing, right? So I'll go with the marking scheme. Oh, they have tell it is at an integration testing. Oh, hold on. But they have gone with the integration. A member of testing team was assigned to test the merged version of the system. Right. Afterwards, several new components were added to the system. Once the new system is completed, with the point of the testing team. Yes. Yeah, but it's kind of not the integration people. It should be the system testing. I don't know why they have gone with the integration, because integration, I doubt whether it is because like afterwards several new components were added to the system, but several new components, yeah, due to that reason we can go with the integrated testing, but it's not a good way of asking the question. Anyway, let's stay with the integration testing then, right? But the testing which is done before the end users, that means the acceptance testing, it's going to be the system testing, not the integration. Which type of testing was carried out by the hotel staff? So they are the end users, as they say, right? So it is the acceptance testing, right? So 1 mark for that. And in the third part, they ask who carried out unit testing of the new hotel management system. Unit testing is done from the programmers or the developers, right? So at the very beginning, it says, Malani assigned 2 programmers, Nimal and Anwar, to develop the room reservation and inventory management component respectively. After completing these 2 components, they were merged. Yeah, they were merged, right? So these 2 are supposed to do the unit testing part, right? So Nimal and Anwar, right? So Nimal and Anwar are the people who is responsible to do the unit testing, because they are the people who develops it. So the people who are developing the system will check their unit. So that is called the unit testing. Then these things will be merged and we'll do the integration testing. Like when we are doing the integration testing, not all the components are merged and make a system. It's a part of the system, right? So it is called the integration testing. So the unit testing are done by the programmers. So the answer is going to be Nimal and Anwar. And the D part, the development team used the iterative incremental model to develop the new system. State 1 reason to justify this decision. Yeah, so they have said it is mentioned that the project is developed as a collection of multiple components. Therefore, it is clear that the project is done in several increments, right? So that kind of an answer, right? So it is done in several different manners, in several different steps. So incremental model is a good model for them to use. The last part says what type of system development approach is used for the above system deployment approach is used for the above hotel management system. Now, the best approach is going to be the parallel deployment, because parallel deployment has the minimum risk in a disastrous situation. That means like in case the new system is going to like give you some troubles, in a parallel deployment, the old system is always with you, because in the parallel deployment, the old system and the new system both runs together for a certain amount of period until the new system is satisfied with the end user, right? So you can go with the parallel deployment. So 1 mark. Right, so in the second part, they are just asking to write about 2 inputs, 2 processors, and 2 outputs from this particular scenario. So as it shows, 2 inputs, it says account number, amount, PIN, financial approval, those kind of things can be taken as the inputs. So any 2 of these things will give you 1 mark. And output, the PIN request message, display all transfer details form, e-receipts, those are going to be the outputs. So any two of them will give you 1 mark again. When it comes to the processing part, verifying the PIN, process details, receipt generation, right? And they have said verify amount could also conserved as a correct answer. Yes. So like any these kind of things can be taken as the processes. So 1 mark for every particular thing. And for the process, they have given 2 marks, right? For 2 inputs, 0.5 per each, and 2 outputs, 0.5 per each, and 1 mark per each process, so 2 mark together. All right, so see how much you got out of 10. And now we are going to come to the very last question, which is the programming question. Right, there you go. Write 1 similarity and 1 difference between variables and constants in a computer program. So similarity, both are used to store values in a computer program. So the and like you can say both occupied memory space, both having names, both having data types. When it comes to the constant and variables, the difference, variable can change its values. Constants are never going to change their values, right? So they're asking 1 similarity and 1 difference, right? So 1 similarity, there are many similarities. You can have 1 of those, and difference, there is only 1 difference, right? So 2 marks if you got this correctly, right? And in the second part, the following flowchart is drawn to calculate average mark and display the grades when marks M1, M2, and M3 of 3 subjects are given as inputs. The grades are decided according to the following table. So I think we have done this earlier, right? It's a simple one. So they are asking about the places, the question mark places to be matched those things. Copy the above flowchart to your answer script and fill the blanks indicated by the question mark according to the given scenario. So they have taken it like this. So the first one, here they are going to calculate the average. So how we are going to calculate the average? So they have taken AVG equals M1 plus M2 plus M3 divided by 3, right? So yeah, let's go with the with this one, so it will be easier.
Not so cute.
Right, so this, of course, you can write
That's so good.
AVG equals M1 plus M2 plus M3 divided by 3, right? And since this is yes, this is definitely no, right? And these places are also going to receive yes, and these places are going to receive no, right? And this one is going to display A because all other grades are being shown over here, right? And this is going to say display no grade, right? And this is going to be, so it says greater than or equal to 80, then it is gives you A. So like then AVG greater than or equal 80. This is going to be AVG greater than or equal 65. This is going to be AVG greater than or equal 50. All right, so that is how this is going to happen. Let's cross check with the answers. Yeah, it goes like that. Right, so they say 0.5 for each part. right? So you can go with these, and these are some alternative answers that you can write for the two conditions, right? So if you have gone like that, you can take the marks as well. So 0.5 for each space that you have given. Is that clear, people? Yeah, no problem. No problem, Duragi. You can have any particular name as the AVG, because the yeah, Dua, it's going to be like this. The following flowchart is drawn to calculate the average mark. They have put AVG inside it and displays the grade when marks M1, M2, M3. Yes, on that case, Dua, don't use the average. They have mentioned AVG, no, Dua, right? So in that case, it's better you go with that, Dua, right? Don't go with the average, Dua, right? Right. So in the third part, the last part, it says consider the following array A with the contain 0 in all locations, right? And there are some PQRSTs over here, and they are asking what kind of things that you are going to have on the places PQRST once after this particular code is being executed, right? They have played a nice trick with you. මේක හරියට ගත්තොත් විනාඩියෙන් output එක එනවා, right? Look at this. So here what they are trying to say is begin, they take value as 2, k as 0. So there is a value line which is 2, there is k which is 0, it is a repeat. So they say ak should be assigned with value. AK means what? AK indicates A0. Why A0? Because the value of the K is 0 for the moment. So AK means A0. So from this statement, what they are trying to say is assign the value, that means 2, to the A0. That means this will become 2. Then it says multiply value by 5. That means this is going to become 10. Increase the value of k by 1, 1. And then they ask the question whether k is less than 5. Now k's value is 1. It is less than 5. So that means this statement is true. And you know, in a repeat until, when the condition is true, it exits the repeat until structure. That means it's going to end. So your P is going to become 2, Q is still 0, R is 0, S is 0, and T is 0. Yes, Mino. Right. So because of that, these are the marks that you are going to have. So if P is correct, 1 mark. QRSTs are correct, again 1 mark is given. Yes, so that will be the end of the 2020 paper. So, and that will be the end of the our sessions. So people, within another week of a time, you will be facing the O-levels. So I wish you good luck. And with all the marks that I'm receiving, I feel that all of you are quite all right, not that quite all right, you are very, very ready to go for the things. Yes, Saran, I'm doing A-level ICTs, but not the online classes, Puta. It's the physical classes that I'm going to have for A-levels, right? And yeah, you are quite okay. Like you are very well organized to the examination now, people. So don't worry. Keep the things on the same manner, on the same pattern, on the same vibe, right? So you will be having your maximum. So go through the, as I always say, go through the incorrect questions. And don't take a lot of pressure now, people, because you are like very well okay with the ICT, as I know, right? I have examined the marks that I was receiving, right? Even send me the total marks for this one as well. So go and do it, people, right? Then ogollo hondata lasti, don't worry, right? Ogollo ඇතිතරම් papers කරලා තියෙනවා, ඇතිතරම් practice එකක් තියෙනවා. අපි මාස 6කට 7කට වැඩිය papers කර ගියා මේ team එකේම, right? දැන් කලබල නැතුව එදාට ගිහිල්ලා ලස්සනට paper එක answer කරන්න, right? So I wish you all the best, right? And all the strength and all the good luck, right? I think you don't need good luck, people. You have your knowledge. That is the very best luck that you have. And I'm glad to share my knowledge with you, and thank you for the experience that you people are like you people are given to me, right? Without you all, I won't be this experience as a teacher, right? So like, you are the only people that I can gain that particular experience. So thank you for that, right? And I think I have given all my knowledge in my level at the best that I can. So I think it will give you a good help to achieve your dreams, right? So I wish you good luck. Even though we haven't met, some of you have met me and some of you haven't, right? Seran, Minul, and Binadi, these people were there with me at the very first stages before the pandemic, and later we shift into the online. And yeah, thank you very much, people. So have a nice life. The exams are not going to be your life, but have the best of yours in the examinations. I wish you all the best, and I'm not going to see you next week as usually. So I'm wishing you very nice weekend and very nice life. Maybe if you are doing the A-levels with ICT, so you will be able to meet me, right? So I'll see you when I see you. So good luck, people, right? And thank you very much. Have a nice weekend, people, and good luck for the O-levels. Right, okay, I'm going to end the session. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. Okay, Dua, thank you. Right, okay, Minol. Right, okay, Saran.
Thank you, sir.
Right, okay, Dua. Right, okay, right, okay. Good luck.